Well, I guess the nicest thing you can take a coarse feed and shred it and make it a palatable thing for them, something that they can actually, get more out of. I like it better than the other outfits because those bales are in crossways. You can't do that with a rotor system. This system of feeding silage to me is a lot easier than having to make it in the field, and then, I don't have as much money tied up in machinery, I don't think. For straw, I'm draining a hell of a lot of straw out here now, but that's because it's warmer now. Yeah. But I know when I had all the calves in the pens there, I just sold them a couple of days ago. You usually throw it on the mound, one bale goes where two used to, and everything's just as dry and as nice as it were before. And when it comes to feeding the straw, it shreds the straw, they eat all the straw instead of laying on half of the straw.
The concept of bale shredding over the past few years has been bound by the rules of newly manufactured equipment. Everybody takes a crack at building the best mousetrap. Well, we at Westward Products invite you to take a look at the machine that's setting the trend in the industry, the most original concept ever introduced into the budding business of feed processing, the Jiffy Bale Shredder. At first sight, the shredder looks like all the others, but you gotta forget everything that you've learned and seen in other processors when you're looking at the Jiffy. The bottom line is that this unit has no clunky, high-maintenance chains to service, no knives or cleats to break and fix, and no rollers to jam and hang up with misshapen bales. And with no extra hydraulic motors to deal with, less hydraulic power is required, and therefore less horsepower is required. You see, the Jiffy has this patented rocker cradle system within the deep tapered loading tub that allows any type or shape of bale good access to the hammers, and means you won't lose precious feed over the sides from a rotating bale in a smaller chamber. Whether it be round or square, hard or soft core, large or small, up to 81 inches, which is the length of our rotor. When the tractor's hydraulics are engaged, the cradle begins to oscillate from side to side. This rasps the entire bale or bales against the PTO-driven rotor, where the steel hammers then eject the processed feed or straw out into the feed bunks or into the feedlot. As you can see, the rocking action changes when one of the actuator bars engages the valve shifter arm on a cross valve, diverting hydraulic flow and thus reversing the cradle's direction. This way, there are no partially processed bales. The whole thing is shredded, leaving nothing behind in the shredder chamber, and thus no need to climb in and fork out an entire deformed bale like with our competitors. Everything in the Jiffy is shredded and fed or spread, which instantly means more money in your pocket, because any kind of bale, any shape of bale, or any quality of bale will be shredded into a much more feedable, digestible mulch. This will reduce stress on your stock and make for even better weight gains. All mold and mildew are blown away in the bale's dust stream. Keep this in mind the next time you're cleaning up the bottom rows of your stacks, or when you've got to feed out some of that hay that's laid in swath for 3 rains. And speaking of wet hay, look at how well the Jiffy handles a 2,000-pound silage bale. The silage pictured here is both green oats and red clover. Look at the palatable mulch you can achieve with the Jiffy compared to the feed that has not been processed. Another great feature of our bale processor is its versatility. Whether it be bedding your animals, covering the dugout, or insulating your septic system, you can count on an efficient spread of straw. With the deflector shield in the up position, the Jiffy can throw straw to distances that can reach up to 45 feet. Plus, you'll use less straw, up to 50% less, because you can get much better coverage with less material. What else has the Jiffy Bale Shredder got to offer? The constant velocity power takeoff is standard equipment, which helps when a tight turn is required in your corrals. An industry-high 32 long-wearing annealed steel hammers on a 24.5-inch diameter rotor guard against high-maintenance situation, something you don't want when you're halfway through your feeding day. The 12.5 by 15-inch tires stand a full 8 feet apart, which means a wide and stable stance without forfeiting ground clearance. Since the unit follows in the tracks of your tractor, you won't sacrifice your tractor's horsepower on a muddy area. Rather, you'll devote most all of it to performing a great processing job. Thanks to the beefy construction of the Jiffy, you can work with 2 round bales at a time, one on the loading forks and one in the chamber. Thanks to the dual lifting cylinders, picking up your frozen down bales, the ones on the bottom of the stack, and especially silage, is a snap. The loading forks sit on a different hydraulic circuit than the cradle. This way, the forks can work at a faster and stronger rate than the cradle, cutting into loading and traveling time between the stack and the feeding area. A great set of options rounds out the deal. The Jiffy is available with a 17-bushel grain feeder tank, which augers your feed grain right onto the windrow as you drop it. And for producers who wish to change their processing distribution mid-stride, or who may have different bunk feeder heights, Jiffy offers both an electric and a hydraulic deflector lift system. Getting out of the tractor less means less feeding time. And remember, Westward Parts offers the highest standard, most comprehensive parts supply in the business, paralleled by no other. We have parts warehouses in Red Deer, Alberta, Regina, Saskatchewan, Winnipeg, Manitoba, and Jamestown, North Dakota. So you'll know you're always covered in a pinch by one of the most extensive dealer networks in North America. Get it done now. Your bale shredding in a jiffy.
To see other productions from the Westward Products video library, or to inquire about this or other Westward Jiffy equipment, please contact us at this address, or surf our website at www.westwardparts.com.